Previously in the cars, Petter Hansel pushes harder than ever before, testing his own limits to catch Roma. I'm putting the pressure on him, I'm putting him in uncomfortable positions. As many days attacking as this, I've never done it before. The Catalan is taking no chances. Nothing in the Dakar comes without a cost. No gifts for anyone. On the track there are no gifts. In real life there can be gifts, but not on the track. Alati has worked hard to race up to third, but there is no breathing room to De Villiers and Terranova, the chasing horde. And El Matador is going no further. Heartbreak for Sainz and the SMG. I was already out of the fight for victory for several days now. Damage and disaster ends it for Sainz, but the race will still go on. There was sadness yesterday evening at the SMG bivouac. Bitterness as well, as Philippe Gache welcomed Carlos Sainz's damaged car back from its terrible crash. And even tears in the eyes of El Matador as all the team gathered together. Antofagasta would be the final stop for the 2010 Dakar winner. And more drama would occur that evening in the Mini headquarters. This morning, a big decision was made official by 11-time Dakar winner Stefan Petter Hansel. We were asked to be slower during the next few days. A decision made by the top management of the team. We were told to keep the positions we have in the standings. So it's basically game over for us. We had fun during the last 5 days. We gave all we had. We had a 40-minute time deficit that is now 2 minutes. But the game is now over. A hard decision to understand for Petter Hansel. Without a major incident, Nani Roma is on his way to a first Dakar win in a car. Things are looking a lot better for Lucio Alvarez and his Ford Ranger. 9th yesterday, he was on the way to his best performance so far, with the 7th fastest time. 32nd overall, Bernard ten Brink can forget about his hopes of finishing in the top 10. 12th on the special stage yesterday, the young Dutchman again struggled on the way to El Salvador. It may be over for Carlos Sainz, but not for Romain Chabot. The Frenchman who finished 9th last year has been struggling on this Dakar. Today, he was back in the fight, finishing 7th. The team orders in the Mini clan haven't really changed the situation for Giniel De Villiers. 5th overall, he doesn't quite seem to have what it takes to compete for the podium right now. 3rd today, he even lost ground on 4th spot. 5th overall, Orlando Terranova seems to have forgotten the frustration of no longer being on the podium. The Argentinian captured his first special success in 2014, his second ever on a Dakar. Nasser Al-Attiyah was heading to back-to-back stage wins, and the Qatari was clocking the best times all the way to the last 70k's. Then things went wrong. He broke a wheel in the dunes of Copiapo and lost 20 minutes. Team orders have been given in the X-Raid Mini team, and they were respected by the soldier Petter Hansel. The Frenchman was certainly very annoyed, but he did what he was told, and he still took 4th place. I don't know if it's because we didn't give all we had that we didn't really enjoy this special. I was hoping for more dunes. There are only a few kilometers of dunes. Pretty average. It's never a walk in the park on the Dakar, but Nani Roma now has a far less stressful mission to accomplish. He claimed a fine 2nd spot today and sees his overall lead grow to just over 5 minutes. For the Catalan, who eventually caught Petter Hansel, there are no team orders. We drove at our maximum all day. If some might think there are team orders, they should look at our times. So the result of the day, Terranova took it by nearly 11 minutes from Roma. De Villiers 3rd, 12:38 back. Petter Hansel just a minute and a half behind him. Ahead of Al-Attiyah, 20 minutes, his loss today. Overall, Roma has it now by 5.5 minutes. Al-Attiyah on the podium in 3rd, 56 minutes down, ahead of Terranova, who's only 7 minutes behind. Jun Mitsuhashi is 3 days away from a third success in the T2 production class. In his Toyota, the Japanese has a lead of over an hour and a half on his closest rival, Nicolas Gibbon. Coming next in the trucks, here comes Karganov as De Roy starts to falter. He's the youngest competitor ever on a Dakar entry list. Jeremias Gonzalez is the new generation's flag carrier. And alongside him is a group of young racers determined to make their Dakar names.
I started cross-country racing a few years ago, and as I live in Argentina, I was watching the Dakar on TV, and I always wanted to be here.
Robert van Pelt is only 20 years old, but he's not a rookie anymore. The Dutchman finished 47th last year.
Well, last year was my first time, and then the long days that surprised me, but this year it's just much harder, much longer.
At 23, Martin Kazmarski is just discovering the Dakar, but he's already in the biggest team at the wheel of a Mini.
My dream from the beginning, when I was a child, I was watching with my parents Dakar in the television, and I wanted to be here, and I am here.
As young as they are, the next generation of competitors already have ideas of how to improve as racers.
If I compare my body with another people, I think I need to work a lot more. Because I see the people who are older than me, they have more experience in head, and they can be really easy.
Of course, the parental influence is still very important for these young riders.
My parents are very happy because I'm not injured, and I always finish stages early, so they don't have time to worry about me.
Así que no tienen mucho tiempo para preocuparse. My mother does all the documents, and my dad's preparing the bike, so it's a family effort.
My fathers push me, but in positive way.
Obviously, Robert, Martin and Jeremias are really ambitious guys.
My ultimate goal is to ride for a factory team.
Without any doubt, I would like to win a Dakar. In the future, I'm going to train very hard to win it.
I would like to win Dakar before 13 years old.
Remember those three names, and maybe you'll see them at the top of the podium in a few years' time. There was a big fright yesterday morning for number 297 Walter Nosiglia, who had a road accident just exiting the Iquique bivouac. The Bolivian crashed with an assistance vehicle and broke a wheel on his quad. Nosiglia was not injured, but has had to retire. He was 8th overall in the quads. Albert Lovera has also had to retire from the race. The Andorran driver broke his engine whilst running 39th of the cars. It was the second Dakar attempt for the paraplegic former athlete, and the second disappointment after he failed to finish in 2007. This year Lovera was sharing his hand control equipped buggy with Frenchman Arnaud Debron. Two years ago, Alex Lopez had a terrifying crash during the liaison between Antofagasta and Iquique. On that day, spectators helped the Czech crew out as they waited for help to arrive. Yesterday, in Antofagasta, Alex Lopez took time to thank the family members who cared about him then. Some t-shirts and some other gifts were exchanged just after the red truck won stage 10. Lopez is 4th in the trucks category.
Muchas gracias, amigos. Para todos. Good to see you. Thanks a lot.
Ninth yesterday and 6th overall when he took off this morning. Hans Stacey has just one concern: to help his teammate Gerard de Roy win a second Dakar. But it's been a pretty frustrating drive for the Dutchman so far from the Kamaz boys. Another bad stage for Dmitry Sotnikov. After losing over an hour yesterday in the dunes, the Russian lost an extra 25 minutes halfway through the day's special. For Eduard Nikolaev, title hopes may have gone, but the most important thing now is putting as many Kamaz trucks on the podium in Valparaiso as they can. He's still comfortably seated on the third step. At last, Alex Lopez was able to show what his Queen 69 was made of yesterday, claiming his first special of the year. The Czech took off first but couldn't do much against a storming Andrei Karganov. Indeed, the Russian was on fire today. There was no stopping the Kamaz driver in his quest for overall victory. On the long dusty straights of Chile, Gerard de Roy hasn't quite been able to compete with the Kamaz boys. The Dutchman had a 37-minute lead after stage 7, but now he no longer leads the race. Karganov has it by nearly 14 minutes.
Between us, we call the Dakar the nightmare.
In 2001, I was doing my first Dakar as an official BMW rider. Halfway through the stage, I still had 300 kilometers to go, and I was convinced that I was going to win. The starter jammed on my BMW. I stopped to repair, I carried on, quite mad. I then fell and ripped off the GPS antenna. I continued and lost myself. I fell again and broke all the navigation elements and made a hole in my engine casing. Oil was leaking. Luckily, with 100 kilometers to go, I found a local man, a Touareg, who sold me 2 liters of nut oil.
It was in '94. Many things happened that year. The stage was cancelled. We were deviated. We found ourselves riding at night along a railroad track, the famous Zouérat-Nouakchott track. I had some funny moments along that railroad track, crossing trains, going from one side to the other. There was a strange atmosphere. I'll never forget that.
It was on day 3 of the Dakar, heading to the border between Portugal and Spain. We were then going to Morocco. And I had nothing. No passport, no money, nothing. That was really an adventure. I got on the boat and I had nothing. I had no passport and I was going to Africa for the first time.
The bridge over Niger's was the move of the century for us. We transported everyone in 3 days with these Russian planes that cost us a great deal and came from far away. It was a crazy bet that we managed to win thanks to the energy of everyone.
Tomorrow will be, in the words of Dakar race director David Castera, one of the hardest stages of this year's rally. That means that any close fights are still on. One last chance for De Villiers to get on the podium. And one final leap for Pain and Desprez to put a Yamaha into third. Tomorrow, the adventure will continue.